Welcome, I'm Nina Gryphon, and this is the Astrology and Magic channel. Today we'll talk about the astrology of August 2023. First off, I wanted to say thank you to all of my patrons. I appreciate all of your support. If you would like to get access, in some cases, exclusive access to content on astrology and magic, you can go to patreon.com/Nina Gryphon. At the highest tier, you'll also get monthly access to my ebook, which comes out every month, and it shows you how to and when to make astrological talismans. It's called Magical Elections. Let's talk about the key themes of the astrology of August. Probably the most important aspect is one that doesn't actually happen this month. I'm talking about the Jupiter conjunction to Uranus in Taurus. Now, Jupiter in Taurus will be a few degrees away from this conjunction all of August, even though the aspect doesn't actually perfect until early 2024. However, their proximity ensures that this energy will make its presence known even now. They're about 8 degrees apart now, and Jupiter's orb is 9 degrees, so Uranus is already within Jupiter's wingspan. So in August, we will have the Sun and Venus aspect Jupiter and Uranus separately, activating the Jupiter-Uranus aspect and giving us a preview of what we might expect next year when Jupiter and Uranus actually conjoin. Now, Jupiter conjunct Uranus is an aspect of great intensity and extreme energy, whether for good or for evil. Often we get some of both. Sometimes there is seismic activity in the form of large earthquakes. It can be within a month or two of the exact aspect, but we generally get a shock of energy in some manner. Now, with Taurus involved, we could see it impacting Russia and Ukraine, which historically have been ruled by the sign Taurus. But to some extent, this aspect, and even this month, it's going to already be felt worldwide. Week 1 of August starts off with a bang. August 1st, we have a full moon at 9 Aquarius. Saturn in Pisces rules this full moon, and he is in a partile opposition to Mercury in Virgo. So it's a tough combination that really flavors the next 2 weeks. It suggests pessimism, obstacles, and restriction, especially in mercurial matters of business, administration, communication, and education. In terms of weather, this combination can bring a fortnight of cloudiness, easterly winds, and generally lower barometric pressure. Now, the same day, August 1st, Mercury at 5 degrees Pisces will oppose Saturn retrograde in Virgo. Now, this is basically the aspect that I just mentioned. As part of the full moon, it will perfect the same day as the full moon. So it's not really going to be a separate influence. Just know that Mercury opposite Saturn will be felt beyond the exact aspect because it's part of the full moon, and it seeds the next 2 weeks. Now, the same day, August 1st, we'll also have Mars at 13 Virgo trine Jupiter in Taurus. This is worth mentioning as an aspect because 2 superior planets are involved, which always indicates larger changes in the world as well as powerful forces for good or bad. Jupiter tends to rule wealthy individuals, large businesses, banking industry, just major economic concerns, and so on. And with a Mars trine, we could see or hear news of a major settlement or agreement coming out around now. Even with the square between these 2 planets in May, there was a deal made for allocating water from the crucial Colorado River that was reached between several U.S. states. They'd been working on this for a long time. On a personal level at this time, we can achieve a similar settlement or agreement to conclude a potentially contentious situation. Now, August 6th, we'll have Sun at 14 Leo square Jupiter in Taurus. So by itself, this is not a very dramatic aspect, but the Sun can act as an activator of other long-term aspects, and this is the first activation of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction this month. There will be 3 more such activations between the Sun and Venus playing that role, so watch very closely around August 6th as this solar transit will give us a preview of coming attractions for Jupiter and Uranus, especially for 2024. Now, week 2 of August, August 9th, Venus retrograde, she's going to be at 22 degrees Leo. She will square Uranus in Taurus. So this is the second activation of Jupiter-Uranus. It's a similar story to the Sun-Jupiter square. Venus and the Sun are traveling close together right now, so they sequentially activate Jupiter and then Uranus. So we can see that this month is really kind of a ballet of the Sun and Venus, triggering a rather volatile and extreme combination. August 9th, Mercury at 14 Virgo will trine Jupiter in Taurus. This is a very positive aspect for business and banking, but also education and personal growth. If you're into studying the hermetic arts of occultism and astrology, this aspect could actually be very good for you. It's a very strong aspect if you want to grow and prosper in these various mercurial fields. August 13th, the Sun at 20 Leo will conjoin Venus retrograde. This is a so-called inferior conjunction. This is the midpoint of the Sun-Venus synodic cycle. Venus can never be more than 47 degrees away from the Sun, so their synodic cycle is a choreographed dance where they draw together and then draw apart. So this is one of their two conjunctions. In terms of weather, they can bring humidity and heat when combined. Often this combination brings news of an unexpected deal or combination or relationship or agreement. Venus being retrograde tends toward surprising activity, right? And so that's why the news can be unexpected. So for us, it's an opportunity to try something new and combine forces with a person or an organization that you normally wouldn't consider. Maybe you try something new artistically speaking, since Venus also rules art. This combination will also activate that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Week 3 of August, starting August 15th, Sun at 23 Leo will square Uranus. So again, this is another activation of the Jupiter-Uranus combo that we discussed. Again, that intensity and energy of Jupiter and Uranus will make its presence known through most of August. Now, August 16th, we'll have a new moon at 23 Leo. The Sun in Leo rules this new moon, emphasizing themes of truth, authority, but also fame and publicity. Discussions will be held over the next 2 weeks around who has authority, who is the rightful ruler, and also getting to the bottom of complex issues, searching for truth. Now, Venus conjoining the Leo new moon, which adds a more positive and favorable mood, it also could add some salaciousness and scandal, right? Venusian activities, which are of course fun, partying, sex, it all comes to the forefront now as Venus rises from the beams of the Sun the very next day after this new moon. The weather will be hot and humid, as Venus always adds some moisture to the atmosphere. August 16th, Mars at 23 Virgo will trine Uranus in Taurus. So this aspect may not be drastic because it involves a trine, but Mars and Uranus in aspect is always at least a little volatile. Sometimes it can bring news about warfare or similar projects of aggression, and many people at this time now decide to start a campaign of shock and awe, like filing lawsuits or going on the warpath, so to speak, similar things. In terms of weather, this combination often brings a lot of wind and squalls, right? You can imagine that destabilization makes its way through the atmosphere as well as society. August 17th, as I mentioned earlier, Venus will have her morning rise at 18 Leo. She's going to become an oriental planet now. This is the moment that Venus arises from the Sun's beams into visibility, called phases in Greek. It's a moment that a planet steps onto the stage as a performer in its own right, rather than staying hidden. It's really a moment of empowerment for a planet, especially for Venus here, and it can be a very good time to introduce Venusian projects to the public, or go public with something Venusian. Venus has her coming out moment, if you will. So if you've been wanting to announce a relationship or a deal, now is the time to do that. Week 4, August 22nd, Venus retrograde at 15 Leo will square Jupiter in Taurus. Again, this is part of that ongoing dance of activation of Jupiter-Uranus that I explained earlier. So you can see how really it's not a single event. Even though Jupiter and Uranus are not together, there's this ongoing activation that's really going to last all of August. And I think we're going to get, like I said, a preview of coming attractions of what we can expect in April 2024 when Jupiter and Uranus do conjoin. August 22nd, Mars at 27 Virgo will oppose Neptune retrograde in Pisces. This is one of the more disruptive aspects in August. We do get extreme weather with this, thunderstorms, squalls, and rapidly dropping barometric pressure. We could get news of maritime attacks or disasters, and the cycle may also have something to do with drug shortages. When Mars conjoined Neptune starting the cycle in 2022, In the US, baby formula shortages were making the news, so this part of the cycle could see impact on the drug or essential supplement industry as well. August 23rd, Mercury will turn retrograde at 21 Virgo. This is part of the larger pattern of Mercury going retrograde in Earth signs in 2023. Mercury is in his own sign and exaltation now, so he's actually very powerful throughout his sojourn through Virgo. But when he is retrograde, his energy and his ability to get his needs met and to attain his goals is going to be flagging a bit. So for the next 3 weeks while he's retrograde, this could make us hit a voluntary or involuntary pause button on various mercurial projects. Of course, these are projects pertaining to organization, communication, planning, education, all of that kind of stuff. August 24th, Mars at 20 Virgo will trine Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. So this is another aspect that could be very difficult. However, because it's a trine, Mars and Pluto are going to work together, for better or for worse, to push power to someone else, right? They're going to assert their power. They're going to try to put their thumb on the scale. So be ready to see news around power plays. Maybe you're going to participate in a power play. It's probably a good time to do that. August 27th, the Sun at 3 Virgo will oppose Saturn retrograde in Pisces. This can bring down one's spirit, energy, and vitality on a personal level. The Sun stands for life and light, while Saturn is darkness and death. So it's a face-off, right? This aspect can bring to light, no pun intended, a big power struggle because these planets stand for these huge cosmic forces. Who's stronger, night or day, life or death? It depends, right? It's a never-ending balancing act, but these two are always in constant engagement. And this opposition is a moment of confrontation between two polar opposites, two very strong life forces and death forces, if you will. August 27th, Mars will enter Libra. Mars is in his detriment in Libra, so he's acting very different, contrary to his Marsy nature. Now, Mars will achieve his aims through discussion, diplomacy, and negotiation. Libra is one of the humane signs, which includes all the air signs plus Virgo. So Mars in these signs tend to resolve conflict through discussion, and in Venus's sign particularly through diplomatic means. So we can channel that energy until October 11th, as long as this transit lasts. Libra, incidentally, doesn't just govern the judicial system, as many people are aware, but also the marketplace, right? It's not just the scales of justice, but also the scales of the market. So we could see a major disruption in court systems and even specific proceedings, but we could also see Mars make his mark on commercial ventures and business as Mars makes various aspects as he travels through Libra. Now, week 5, August 28th, Uranus will turn retrograde at 23 Taurus. This is generally not noticeable on an individual level, and it's even pretty subtle at a collective level compared to the greater intensity of an aspect. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. I don't expect major events connected to this specific aspect. August 30th, we get our second full moon of the month, so you know it's a blue moon. It's a full moon at 7 Pisces. This full moon in some ways is back to the theme that we saw on August 1st, and this full moon is ruled by Jupiter in Taurus, who is making some favorable aspects. Again, he's close to Uranus, so there's that intensity and energy. He also makes a trine to the Sun and Mercury, and even a square with Venus with reception, which could be pretty helpful. So it's a very active couple of weeks. There is inherent optimism here, but it may be repressed or bottled up because the moon in Pisces in this full moon will conjoin Saturn in Pisces. So this puts a damper on Jupiter's desire to expand and reach a higher level. Some progress will be made over the next 2 weeks, but generally this full moon promises a 2 weeks of having to tap the brakes, even though we'd much rather accelerate. Weather will be cooler now with hail or thunder and sometimes intense rain. August 30th, Mercury will have his evening set at 19 Virgo. Mercury will enter the Sun's beams now as he prepares for his purging experience of the Sun's conjunction and the Cazimi phase. He will go behind the scenes into the solar furnace to re-emerge in early September. Thanks for watching. I'm Nina Gryphon, and this is the Astrology and Magic channel.